every single year. It's called sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. After the age of 60, most people lose 1 to 2% of muscle mass every year. That leads to weakness, poor balance, joint pain, higher fall risk, loss of mobility, faster aging. But what if one simple addition to your morning coffee could help slow, stop, and even reverse this muscle loss? If you are over 65, you are standing at a powerful crossroads, whether you realize it or not. One path leads towards strength, independence, and vitality, while the other silently pulls millions of people toward weakness, frailty, and loss of freedom. The terrifying truth is that most people drift onto the second path without ever noticing the moment it happens. This invisible enemy has a name, sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass, strength, and function. By the time most people understand what is happening, they have already lost up to 40% of their muscle, and with it, their balance, confidence, and independence. Scientific research reveals that after the age of 30, humans begin to lose muscle at a slow but steady rate, but after 60, that loss accelerates dramatically. Studies show that adults over 60 can lose 1 to 2% of muscle mass every single year. That means by age 70, many people have lost over 20% of their muscle, and by 80, that number can exceed 40%. This isn't just about looking weaker. This is about walking slower, struggling to climb stairs, having trouble getting out of chairs, losing grip strength, and falling more often. In fact, falls are the leading cause of injury-related death among older adults, and muscle loss is one of the biggest reasons why. But here's the shocking truth that most doctors never tell you. Muscle loss is not inevitable. It is not a natural destiny of aging. It is largely the result of lifestyle changes, nutritional deficiencies, and metabolic decline that can be slowed, stopped, and even reversed. In other words, growing older does not have to mean growing weaker. One of the most devastating myths about aging is the belief that weakness is normal. This belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When people expect decline, they accept it. They move less. They eat less protein. They rest more, they avoid activity, and slowly their muscles shrink, their bones weaken, and their metabolism slows. This creates a downward spiral that accelerates aging itself. Yet research consistently shows that seniors who remain active, well-nourished, and metabolically healthy can maintain muscle mass and strength well into their 80s and even 90s. Muscle is not just about movement, it is a powerful metabolic organ. Muscle tissue regulates blood sugar, burns fat, protects joints, stabilizes posture, supports balance, and even produces anti-inflammatory compounds called myokines that protect the brain, heart, and immune system. When muscle disappears, inflammation rises, insulin resistance increases, and chronic disease risk skyrockets. This is why sarcopenia is strongly linked to diabetes, heart disease, osteoporosis, dementia, and premature death. Research published in major medical journals shows that low muscle mass is one of the strongest predictors of mortality in older adults. In fact, people with sarcopenia are up to 3 times more likely to die prematurely than those who maintain muscle strength. This is not a cosmetic issue, this is a survival issue. Yet despite these alarming facts, most healthcare systems still focus on treating disease rather than preserving muscle. Blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar are routinely monitored, but muscle mass is rarely measured. By the time weakness becomes obvious, the damage is already severe. This is why prevention is everything. The primary reason muscle loss accelerates with age is not aging itself, but metabolic decline. As we get older, our bodies become less efficient at digesting and absorbing protein. Growth hormone levels drop sharply. Testosterone and estrogen decline. Mitochondrial energy production slows. Insulin sensitivity decreases, and chronic low-grade inflammation rises. Together, these changes create a biological environment that favors muscle breakdown rather than muscle building. But here's the breakthrough discovery. Muscle tissue remains remarkably responsive to the right signals, even in old age. Studies on seniors in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s show that muscle can still grow, strengthen, and regenerate when given proper nutritional fuel and metabolic support. The aging body has not lost its capacity to build muscle. It has only lost the signals that trigger it. One of the most powerful of these signals is cellular energy. Every muscle contraction requires energy. Every repair process requires energy. Every protein-building pathway depends on energy. When cellular energy production declines, muscle breakdown accelerates. This is why mitochondrial dysfunction is now considered one of the root causes of sarcopenia. Mitochondria are the tiny power plants inside your cells. They convert nutrients into usable energy. As we age, mitochondrial number and efficiency decline. This leads to fatigue, weakness, brain fog, and muscle loss. But studies show that when mitochondrial function is restored, muscle tissue begins to regenerate, even in advanced age. Another major factor is insulin resistance. Healthy muscle tissue is highly sensitive to insulin, which allows glucose to enter muscle cells and fuel activity. But as insulin resistance increases, glucose remains in the bloodstream, contributing to diabetes, while muscle cells starve for energy. This metabolic dysfunction accelerates muscle breakdown and fat accumulation, further worsening the problem. Chronic inflammation also plays a devastating role. Low-grade inflammation, often driven by processed foods, high sugar intake, poor sleep, stress, and sedentary behavior, directly breaks down muscle proteins. Inflammatory cytokines interfere with muscle repair and regeneration, creating a constant state of tissue degradation. Over time, this inflammation slowly erodes muscle mass from the inside out. Yet, despite these powerful destructive forces, the human body retains an extraordinary capacity for healing. Scientific research has shown that muscle protein synthesis can be dramatically increased in older adults through targeted nutritional strategies, even without intense exercise. This means that muscle loss can be slowed, halted, and in many cases reversed. One of the most hopeful discoveries in aging research is that older muscles respond extremely well to metabolic fuel sources that enhance cellular energy and reduce inflammation. When the right nutrients are introduced, muscle cells reawaken, protein utilization improves, growth pathways reactivate, and muscle tissue begins to rebuild. This is why muscle loss is not destiny. It is a signal, a warning, and an opportunity. Every day, millions of seniors unknowingly surrender their strength because no one has shown them the tools to protect it. They are told weakness is normal. They are told fatigue is expected. They are told joint pain is unavoidable. But science tells a very different story. The human body is designed to adapt, survive, and thrive even in old age. Studies of long-lived populations known as blue zones reveal that elders who remain physically active, metabolically healthy, and nutritionally supported retain remarkable strength well into their later years. 90-year-olds who walk miles each day, 80-year-olds who farm, climb hills, and carry heavy loads. These individuals are not genetic anomalies. They simply maintain the biological signals that preserve muscle, and those same signals can be activated in anyone. The real tragedy is not aging. The real tragedy is unnecessary decline. Every year of preserved muscle is another year of independence, another year of confidence, another year of freedom to move, travel, explore, and live fully. Muscle is not just tissue. It is autonomy. It is dignity. It is life force. When muscle fades, dependence rises. Simple tasks become exhausting. Getting dressed becomes difficult. Walking becomes dangerous. Fear of falling grows. Social isolation increases, and quality of life slowly collapses. This is why protecting muscle is one of the most powerful anti-aging strategies known to science. And the most extraordinary part is this: the body wants to heal. It wants to rebuild. It wants to grow stronger. It is simply waiting for the right signals. When those signals are restored, something incredible happens. Energy returns, strength improves, balance stabilizes, confidence grows, and aging begins to slow. Sarcopenia is not your fate. Weakness is not your future. Frailty is not your destiny. Your muscles are listening, and with the right fuel, they can rise again. The question is no longer whether muscle loss can be stopped. Science has already answered that. The only question is whether you will take action in time. Most people drink their morning coffee for one simple reason: energy. They want to feel awake, focused, and ready to face the day. But hidden inside this daily ritual is a powerful opportunity that almost no one is using. A simple addition to your coffee can transform it from a mild stimulant into a metabolic weapon that protects your muscles, sharpens your brain, and slows biological aging itself. That addition is MCT oil, and its effects on the aging body are nothing short of extraordinary. After the age of 60, the human body undergoes a dramatic shift. Muscle protein breakdown begins to exceed muscle protein synthesis, cellular energy production declines, mitochondrial efficiency drops, blood sugar control weakens, and fat storage increases. Together, these changes create the perfect biological storm for sarcopenia, fatigue, brain fog, and metabolic disease. But scientific research has revealed that MCT oil directly targets each of these problems at their core. MCT stands for medium-chain triglycerides, a special type of fat found naturally in coconut oil. Unlike long-chain fats found in most foods, MCTs are rapidly absorbed and transported directly to the liver, where they are immediately converted into ketones. Ketones are a powerful alternative fuel source for the brain, muscles, and heart. Unlike glucose, which requires insulin to enter cells, ketones enter freely, delivering instant clean energy to tissues that are starving for fuel. This matters profoundly for aging muscles. As insulin resistance increases with age, muscle cells struggle to absorb glucose efficiently. This creates an energy crisis inside muscle tissue. When muscles are starved for energy, they begin breaking down their own protein to survive. This accelerates muscle wasting, weakness, and frailty. MCT oil interrupts this destructive cycle by supplying muscles with immediate ketone energy, reducing the need for muscle breakdown and preserving lean tissue. Research published in metabolic and aging journals shows that ketones have a powerful protein-sparing effect. This means they protect muscle protein from being used as fuel. In older adults, this effect is dramatic. Studies demonstrate that when ketone levels rise, muscle protein breakdown decreases significantly, even in individuals with insulin resistance and metabolic dysfunction. In simple terms, MCT oil helps your body burn fat and ketones instead of cannibalizing your muscles. The effects on mitochondrial function are even more profound. Mitochondria are the tiny power plants inside your cells, responsible for producing over 90% of the energy your body uses. Aging dramatically reduces mitochondrial number and efficiency, leading to fatigue, weakness, and cellular degeneration. Ketones produced from MCT oil act as premium fuel for mitochondria, increasing energy production while reducing oxidative stress. This means muscles receive more usable energy with less cellular damage. This single mechanism alone explains why seniors who use MCT oil often experience rapid improvements in strength, endurance, and vitality. Within days, many report increased energy. Within weeks, improved physical performance, and within months, noticeable improvements in muscle tone and stamina. These changes are not placebo. They are driven by measurable shifts in cellular metabolism. But the story goes even deeper. Ketones are not just fuel. They are signaling molecules that activate powerful genetic pathways associated with longevity and muscle preservation. One of these pathways involves mTOR regulation, which controls muscle growth and repair. Ketones help optimize this pathway, allowing muscle cells to rebuild more efficiently. At the same time, ketones suppress catabolic hormones that accelerate muscle breakdown, creating a biochemical environment that favors muscle preservation and regeneration. Another extraordinary benefit lies in inflammation reduction. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the primary drivers of muscle loss in aging. Inflammatory cytokines directly degrade muscle proteins and inhibit muscle repair. Ketones have been shown to dramatically reduce inflammatory signaling throughout the body. By lowering inflammation, MCT oil protects muscle fibers from continuous damage, allowing healing and rebuilding to finally occur. Blood sugar control also improves significantly. High blood sugar and insulin spikes accelerate muscle breakdown while increasing fat storage. MCT oil stabilizes blood sugar by providing energy that does not require insulin. This reduces glucose fluctuations, lowers insulin demand, and restores metabolic balance. Stable blood sugar means stable energy, reduced fatigue, and improved muscle function throughout the day. The brain benefits are just as remarkable. The aging brain suffers from declining glucose metabolism, which contributes to memory loss, cognitive decline, and dementia. Ketones serve as a superior alternative fuel for brain cells. In fact, brain scans show that ketones can provide up to 60% of the brain's energy needs when glucose metabolism is impaired. This is why many seniors experience sharper thinking, better memory, and improved mental clarity after adding MCT oil to their daily routine. This mental clarity has a direct impact on physical performance. When the brain receives adequate fuel, coordination improves, reaction time sharpens, and balance stabilizes. Falls become less likely. movement becomes more confident, fear of activity decreases, and with increased movement comes further protection against muscle loss. It becomes a powerful upward spiral of recovery and strength. Perhaps one of the most astonishing discoveries about MCT oil is its ability to rapidly raise ketone levels without requiring extreme dietary changes. Traditional ketogenic diets can take weeks to induce ketosis, but MCT oil can elevate ketones within minutes. This means seniors can access the benefits of ketosis without restrictive diets, fasting, or intense lifestyle changes. A simple tablespoon added to coffee can produce measurable metabolic shifts almost immediately. Clinical studies show that even small doses of MCT oil significantly increase fat oxidation, mitochondrial efficiency, and energy expenditure. This translates into improved endurance, better muscle recovery, and greater physical resilience. In older adults, this metabolic boost often feels like turning back the clock by decades. The combination of coffee and MCT oil creates a synergistic effect that amplifies these benefits. Coffee itself stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis, meaning it helps create new mitochondria. It also increases fat mobilization and enhances cognitive alertness. When combined with MCT oil, coffee accelerates ketone production, enhances metabolic flexibility, and extends energy availability for hours. This powerful pairing transforms an ordinary morning beverage into a potent anti-aging elixir. One of the most profound impacts of MCT oil is its effect on independence. Muscle strength is the foundation of autonomy. It allows people to stand, walk, lift, climb, and move freely. When muscle disappears, dependence grows. Seniors who lose muscle become increasingly reliant on others for basic tasks. But preserving muscle means preserving dignity, freedom, and quality of life. Scientific data consistently shows that muscle mass is one of the strongest predictors of survival in older adults. Those with greater muscle strength live longer, suffer fewer injuries, experience fewer hospitalizations, and maintain higher cognitive function. By protecting muscle, MCT oil indirectly protects nearly every system in the body. What makes this discovery so heartbreaking is how few people know about it. Millions of seniors are told to accept weakness as inevitable. They are prescribed medications for symptoms while the underlying metabolic decline continues unchecked. Yet a simple nutritional strategy could dramatically change their trajectory. This is not about supplements or trends. This is about restoring the body's natural energy systems. It is about giving cells the fuel they were designed to use. It is about turning on ancient metabolic pathways that preserve strength, vitality, and survival. The human body is incredibly resilient. Even in advanced age, it responds rapidly to the right signals. MCT oil provides one of the most powerful of these signals. Within days, energy improves. Within weeks, strength increases. Within months, confidence returns. And with confidence comes movement, engagement, and renewed purpose. Every cup of coffee becomes an opportunity to fuel your muscles, to protect your brain, to stabilize your metabolism, to slow aging at the cellular level. This is not magic. This is biochemistry. This is physiology. This is science unlocking the body's dormant potential. The tragedy is not that we age. The tragedy is that we allow unnecessary decline when simple solutions exist. 1 tablespoon, 1 cup, 1 daily habit, and the body begins to remember how to thrive again. The only question is whether you will claim that power. Every morning, a single choice sets the tone for the next 24 hours, and over time, for the next 20 years of your life. For millions of seniors, mornings begin with stiffness, fatigue, and quiet fear about what their bodies can no longer do. But hidden inside that fragile moment is the power to completely change the future. One small habit, repeated daily, can restore strength, protect balance, preserve independence, and dramatically slow the aging process itself. Science now confirms that the simplest morning routines can become the strongest weapons against physical decline. After the age of 65, the body begins to lose its ability to recover, muscle repair slows, bone regeneration weakens, nerve signaling deteriorates, and balance control becomes unstable. This cascade leads directly to frailty, falls, fractures, hospitalizations, and ultimately loss of independence. According to medical research, 1 in 3 adults over 65 falls each year. Among those who fall, nearly 20% suffer serious injuries, including hip fractures and head trauma. And once a senior falls, the risk of future falls nearly doubles. This single event can mark the beginning of permanent physical decline. Yet studies reveal that muscle strength and balance are the two most powerful predictors of whether an older adult will remain independent. Seniors with strong muscles and stable balance are dramatically less likely to fall, far less likely to need assisted living, and significantly more likely to maintain freedom of movement well into old age. This means that protecting muscle is not just about strength, it is about survival, dignity, and self-sufficiency. Research published in geriatric medicine journals shows that a simple daily morning routine can significantly improve muscle function, balance, metabolic health, and cognitive clarity. When seniors establish consistent morning habits that support energy production and muscle preservation, they create a biological environment that actively resists aging. This daily repetition becomes a signal to the body that strength is still required, and the body responds accordingly. The reason mornings are so powerful lies in human physiology. During sleep, the body enters a fasted state. Blood sugar levels drop. Glycogen stores become depleted, cortisol rises, muscle protein breakdown accelerates. When the body awakens, it is metabolically primed to absorb nutrients and activate energy production. What you provide at this moment determines whether your metabolism shifts toward rebuilding or breakdown. Studies show that providing immediate cellular fuel and muscle-supporting nutrients in the morning dramatically reduces muscle catabolism throughout the day. Seniors who nourish their bodies correctly upon waking experience improved energy, greater mobility, enhanced coordination, and stronger muscles by evening. Over time, this daily intervention becomes a powerful anti-aging strategy. Balance is perhaps the most underestimated factor in aging. Most people believe falls are random accidents. Science proves otherwise. Nearly 80% of falls are caused by poor muscle strength, delayed reaction time, impaired coordination, and weakened stabilizing muscles. When these systems decline, the body cannot respond quickly enough to sudden shifts in posture, uneven surfaces, or unexpected obstacles. But balance is trainable at any age. Research from neurological and rehabilitation institutes demonstrates that daily activation of stabilizing muscles and nervous system pathways significantly improves balance, even in adults over 80. These improvements can occur within weeks. When muscles regain strength and nerves regain signaling efficiency, posture improves, gait stabilizes, and confidence returns. Fear of falling decreases, which further improves movement quality. This creates a positive feedback loop where strength builds strength. Independence depends on small movements that most people take for granted: standing from a chair, climbing stairs, lifting groceries, carrying laundry, stepping into a bathtub, and getting out of bed. Each of these actions requires coordinated muscle strength, balance, and nervous system control. When any one of these systems weakens, independence begins to erode. Seniors gradually stop performing these tasks, not because they are incapable, but because they are afraid. Fear leads to avoidance. Avoidance leads to further weakness. And weakness leads to dependence. Clinical studies show that seniors who maintain even moderate muscle strength require up to 70% less assistance in daily activities. They are less likely to enter nursing homes, require fewer medications, experience fewer hospital visits, and report significantly higher quality of life. In contrast, those who lose muscle rapidly become increasingly reliant on caregivers, family members, and medical systems. The emotional cost of this decline is profound. Loss of independence often leads to depression, anxiety, social isolation, and cognitive deterioration. When individuals feel they no longer control their bodies, they lose confidence in their lives. Their world shrinks. Their sense of purpose fades. But when strength returns, so does hope. Science confirms that the nervous system remains plastic throughout life. This means the brain and nerves can adapt, reorganize, and strengthen even in advanced age. Every time muscles are activated, neural pathways are reinforced. Every time balance is challenged, coordination improves. Every time energy production increases, mental clarity sharpens. This is why simple daily habits can produce dramatic neurological and physical improvements. One of the most astonishing findings in aging research is how quickly these changes occur. Studies show that muscle strength can improve by up to 30% within 12 weeks in seniors who adopt consistent daily routines. Balance scores improve, reaction times shorten, walking speed increases, and fall risk declines sharply. These changes often occur without intense exercise, simply through metabolic activation and daily movement stimulation. Morning routines are uniquely powerful because they shape behavior for the entire day. Seniors who begin the day with energy and clarity move more, socialize more, eat better, and sleep better. These downstream effects compound into profound long-term benefits. In contrast, mornings that begin with fatigue, stiffness, and weakness lead to inactivity, isolation, and further decline. The body is designed to adapt. It constantly recalibrates itself based on demand. When daily life demands strength, the body builds strength. When daily life demands rest, the body deteriorates. This principle explains why consistent morning habits are so transformative. They create a daily demand for vitality. Independence is not maintained by grand gestures. It is preserved by small, repeated actions. One cup of coffee, one simple nutritional addition, one intentional movement, one conscious breath. Over time, these tiny behaviors accumulate into extraordinary resilience. Longevity research reveals that the longest living populations in the world share one critical trait: daily physical engagement. They walk, garden, carry, climb, squat, and stretch every day. These movements are not exercise programs. They are habits woven into daily life. Their bodies remain functional because their lifestyles demand function. When seniors adopt even a fraction of these habits, dramatic transformations occur. Muscle mass stabilizes, bone density improves, joint mobility increases, balance sharpens, and confidence grows. The aging process slows, not because time stops, but because the biological signals of decline are interrupted. Medical studies show that maintaining muscle strength reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, dementia, and depression. Muscle tissue acts as a protective organ, regulating blood sugar, reducing inflammation, and supporting immune function. This means that preserving muscle protects nearly every system in the body. Perhaps the most powerful benefit is psychological. When seniors feel strong, they feel capable. When they feel capable, they engage with life, they travel, they socialize, they explore, they learn, they laugh, they dream. Strength restores possibility. The tragedy is that most people are never taught this. They are told aging equals decline. They are told weakness is normal. They are told fatigue is inevitable. And so they surrender to a future that could have been avoided. Science has now exposed the truth. Aging does not require frailty. Decline is not destiny. The body retains its ability to adapt far longer than previously believed. The only requirement is consistent stimulation. Every morning becomes a choice to accept weakness or demand strength, a choice to surrender independence or protect it, a choice to let biology decay or to activate healing. Over time, these choices shape destiny. Independence is not lost in a single moment. It is lost in thousands of small decisions to do nothing, and it is preserved in thousands of small decisions to do something. The most powerful transformations begin quietly, in kitchens, in living rooms, in bedrooms, at dawn. One habit, one cup, one morning, and suddenly the body begins to remember how to stand tall, move freely, and live fully again. This is how independence is protected. This is how strength is restored. This is how aging is slowed, not through